everybody, and welcome to today's video. I have another preview to treat for you today. It comes to us from Nintendo themselves, and it's the first big release of Nintendo's for 2021. It is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Super Mario 3D World being one of the better games that was released on the Wii U, now finally on a platform that people actually own, and with it comes Bowser's Fury as an all-new thing, an incentive for people that played Super Mario 3D World to death to double dip. And as we'll talk about in this video, it is actually a very good reason indeed to double dip. This is just a preview session. I haven't had a chance to get too far into either of these game modes, so for all I know, they break in the second half, and I just haven't got to that point yet. But knowing Nintendo, that's not going to be the case, of course. But I am limited in what I can actually talk about at this point, as well as I'm limited in terms of what I can show you. I also haven't scripted this. This is all just me talking off the top of my head. So if I happen to say anything that doesn't make any sense, which is entirely possible, let's face it, you can always jump in the comments and just ask me questions, and I will do my best to answer without breaking the conditions that I've agreed to for the preview session. But you will get a chance to see a good chunk of gameplay in this, and I'll talk about why I really do enjoy these games, because while I'm not a platformer fan as a rule of thumb, this one in particular really hooked me in, and I was really looking forward to seeing whether Bowser's Fury could back up what I liked about Super Mario 3D World. And the good thing is, right from the gates, it definitely seems to have done so, so I'm very happy with what I've seen so far. So the thing that I really liked about Super Mario 3D World when I first played it back on the Wii U was just how much creative energy it had. Nintendo has this ability which is pretty unique to them amongst all platform developers out there, that they can fill a game so that it still feels like a full-length platforming experience. You certainly get a full-length game in there, but every level feels like it has some kind of catch, some kind of trick. Not a gimmick, because to me gimmick means something that's kind of thrown in there in a very shallow way just to give you something to squeal about. But this one, with Nintendo's platformers, everything is quite genuine, and every level is genuinely different in a way that is interesting and invigorating. It just makes you want to play the next level and the next level and the next level and so on. And Super Mario 3D World, for me, probably encapsulated that best across even all of Nintendo's own games. Like I said, I'm not the world's biggest fan of platformers, and even Nintendo's own platformers can grate on me after a while, but Super Mario 3D World just hooked me in to the point that I wasn't able to stop playing it back on the Wii U. I found it really, really engaging, and I haven't played it since that. Once I finished it on the Wii U once, I put it away because I had to move on to other things. Like any games journalist, I have too many games to play as it is. But picking it up again, I've been hooked in exactly the same way. And while you're only seeing a couple of the earlier levels here, I really am pushing on with this, and I'm having a great time with it all over again. The levels feel fresh again because, and the reason that Super Mario 3D World is so replayable is because each of the levels is so different to one another. The second time you play it through, it feels fresh again because you've gone through all the other levels in the time since. So it's very easy to go back to a level without feeling like any of them are dull. The one exception I will say, unfortunately for the Switch, is that Nintendo's solution to the touchscreen stuff that the Wii U version had, the original had, is a little bit clumsy. So there are a couple of levels where in the Wii U, because you had the tablet that you're playing on, you're able to touch the screen and interact with it that way. On the Switch, they've got this kind of mouse cursor thing that you can pull up and motion control, and it kind of works. You can still get through the level, but it is a little bit clumsier than I would have liked. It is the one moment where the game just doesn't feel quite as refined as I might have liked. But thankfully that's not too often. There aren't too many levels in Super Mario 3D World where that touchscreen stuff was essential, so it doesn't feel like when you play it on the Switch that you're going to have to slog through that too often. The other thing that I really loved about Super Mario 3D World was it was the introduction to Captain Toad. If people remember, Captain Toad wasn't a thing until until he showed up in Super Mario 3D World as this little mini-game thing that you would play in between the main levels. It wasn't an actual level within Super Mario 3D World. These were these little things off on the side, and they were meant to be light-hearted puzzler diversions, but they were so popular that Nintendo decided to create an entire Captain Toad game as a standalone thing, and it just goes to speak to the quality of these puzzles that people got that hooked on Captain Toad and his little adventures. This game has all of those back in there as well, so if nothing else, replaying through the Captain Toad levels is a good reason to go through the main levels. I found the Captain Toad stuff to be really compelling, and I actually made a video back with the Wii U release of Super Mario 3D World, basically saying I would love to see Captain Toad get his own spin-off game. That was before anybody knew that Nintendo was actually planning on doing that anyway, so I kind of guessed at the future of that with that video. But yeah, Captain Toad's there, it's great, and it just speaks to the quality of Super Mario 3D World that even the little mini games are just so special. So Bowser's Fury is the bonus thing for people who have played Super Mario 3D World to death and needed an incentive to buy it again. But of course, Nintendo being Nintendo, this is not a superficial addition to the game. It is short, apparently. I haven't got to the end of it because I am still in preview stage, so I did limit myself to playing as far as the preview conditions would allow me to, but apparently it is quite short. Even Nintendo themselves say it is quite a short adventure. But it's not without substance, and again, it shows a sheer level of creativity that makes every step that you take, every little thing that you do in this game, feel distinct and interesting, and it just flows really nicely too. So, as you would have seen from the footage on the screen, it looks a little bit like a proper 3D Mario game, in that where the Super Mario 3D World kind of takes place on it's a 3D world, but it looks like a side-scroller in terms of the direction and flow of the levels. Bowser's Fury instead is fully 3D, and you can wander around and explore the levels like you are playing an early era 3D platformer, I guess. The best way to compare is probably Super Mario 64 in terms of the perspective of the camera behind the character's back, and the general kind of layout of the levels as well is quite familiar for people who played the early era of 3D Mario platformers. What is really good about this one, though, is the way that things flow. So when you complete an objective, rather than getting spat back out the painting as happened with Super Mario 64, or thrown out of the kind of the ink spots or whatever it was in Mario Sunshine, when you finish an objective in this one, you just kind of leap off, Assassin's Creed-like, leap off a platform to land on a new area, and that becomes your next level to explore, which is a really neat way of doing it. It all flows from one to the next without that disruption in the middle, and it doesn't need a hub world as a result. It's just a series of levels, because you can't go back once you've completed a level. Once you've done that leap off the cliff face and have landed in the next section, you can't go climbing back up the cliff face, you've moved on. But it flows from one to the next without any gap in between, which is really quite impressive from a design point of view, and from a gameplay point of view. There is no downtime with this. It just moves at this really neat and snappy pace, and it's testament to the quality of the level design, the enemy design, and just the way that the game's made, that even though you are constantly playing without any downtime in Bowser's Fury, you never feel like you are doing the same thing over again. It's just an endless parade of interesting things to see and do, and interesting platforming challenges. So I think that Bowser's Fury is definitely one of the better add-ons that Nintendo has done to its Wii U ports to make them worth repurchasing again. This one it feels substantial. It feels like it was almost going to be its own independent game, but maybe they ran out of material and they had this shorter thing that they needed to find some way of getting out there, so they've attached it to a port of a Wii U title. But that's what it feels like. It feels like, with just a little bit more work, I guess, with a little bit more time, Bowser's Fury could have been a standalone game, and people would have absolutely loved it for that. But anyway, that's pretty much all I've got to say at this preview stage. I'm really having a great time with this. You can look forward to my review on digitallydownloaded.net, where I will go in depth, in particular with Bowser's Fury, when the embargo lifts. You can, in the meantime, also check out my review of the original Wii U version of Super Mario 3D World. Like I said, it's a very clean port. They don't add anything to it, but they have done an excellent effort at just giving you that game all over again. So you can check out my review of that to get my thoughts on that game ahead of time. In the meantime, I'm going to go back and play some more Super Mario 3D World. Please do let me know your comments. If you are a fan of Super Mario 3D World from the Wii U, please do shout out in the comments and we can chat about it. Otherwise, I'm going to do my usual thing and say please do click that like and subscribe button if you enjoy my videos. That way you won't miss any when I upload new ones. And if you do like my work and want to support what I'm doing, please do consider throwing me some support on Patreon. You can follow me over there and sign up for just $1 a month, and in doing so you actually get all the visual novels that I create for free, because that's a perk for Patreons, and you are also supporting all the videos that I do, as well as all my written reviews on digitallydownloaded.net and everything else that I do, because this is I do a lot of things. Thanks as always for watching. Have a great week, and we will see you at the next video.